gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to the Go Diamond Focus Call. Speaking to you from the green on hole number 7, I believe. So, yeah, another image and/or aspect of living a life unlimited in ZJ International. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. And I guess it's the beginning of period 3, and lots of stuff to talk about in terms of this week, what's happening, where we are, where we're going. I think everybody has probably had a chance to see the latest presentation video that was posted on Thursday. If you haven't, you most certainly want to take a look at it. You can go to my Facebook page about 2 or maybe 3 or 4 posts down. You'll see it. And it was videoed live at a Super Saturday here in Toronto. And of course we have a couple of testimonials and a lot of feeling and emotion that go along with the basic presentation. And since Thursday, there's been over 2,000 views and 152 shares. And so the video has gone viral, we would say. Certainly has impacted more than most posts that we'll see. And I guess that is a result of the fact that it's speaking to a lot of people, and people are using it as a part of their presentation to a new prospect. Could be a first exposure, could be a second exposure, but it certainly warrants at least one exposure. If you haven't seen it or have not shared it, do go to the Facebook page and share it, push it out to other team members and the rest of your group. I was speaking with Bob Budd, who is one of our new growing teammates, double diamond on his way to triple diamond, probably hit black diamond by the convention. And what he has done is he's configured sort of a 3-step process. That video followed by the Discovery channel, along with the compensation plan video. So 3 basic exposures, and those 3 exposures give a very succinct presentation to a new prospect, and then of course followed up by a 3-way call, followed up by some additional validation and or additional information based on what the new business candidate needs. And I wanted to talk this morning a little bit about duplication and how all of this fits into a duplicatable model, and which will grow an organization. I was speaking with a gentleman out of Hawaii last night, and he was talking about how to build a big team. He says, I've got no problem in inviting people, I've got no problem in sponsoring people. I've brought a few people in, but where I need a little bit of coaching is, how do I get people to duplicate? How do I get people to advance? How do I get them to do what I did with them? And it's a very simple answer, but so many people tend not to follow it. Duplication actually starts with our initial presentation, meaning how we bring somebody into the business, how we expose somebody to the business is going to affect whether they duplicate or whether they stagnate. If we bring somebody in using, let's say we have a little bit of salesmanship, we bring somebody into the business with a lot of salesmanship, we will bring that person into the business, but they will not duplicate. Why? Well, because they're going to be unable to duplicate or copy my salesmanship or your salesmanship and so forth. So they haven't been brought in via a systematic approach, and therefore they are unlikely to duplicate. And that goes for the same thing. If we bring somebody into the business heavily on product information, product knowledge, and great detail in that area, then they probably won't duplicate because they will be approaching other people in exactly the same way. And so the key to the business is making sure that we're duplicatable, making sure that we are doing things that others can copy, and the way to do that is by using the system. So people say, well, so exactly what is the system? Now, the system can be adjusted a little bit. Some people may launch their business with a PBR, inviting a few friends over, putting in a DVD, watching a DVD, or watching a presentation of some kind. Others might use conference calls, others might use product samples, or others might use CDs, DVDs, or literature, etc. But in general, a systematic approach is watching a presentation, and first of all, inviting people in the right context to watch a presentation. Number two, inviting people to let's say, view the Discovery Channel documentary to get a little bit of validation on what they've seen with the presentation. So in the presentation, we talk about product, we talk about the company and so forth, and then the Discovery Channel can validate all of that. And then the third component, of course, is a person wants to see the business side of things. That could be actually the first or second component, but they want to see or capture a little bit of the vision of what's possible in terms of making money. And so what we do is we show people how to do that through those three videos, followed by maybe a three-way call or a little bit of validation. And then, of course, all of that can be enhanced by things like the video of the convention highlights or other Black Diamond testimonial videos, etc. And all of those will help enhance the person's exposure to our business. But more importantly, or most importantly, it's going to get a person in place such that they can then duplicate the way in which they were brought in. Hold the line just a moment. Thanks, folks. Alright, this is different. Okay, I can honestly say I haven't done a conference call in the middle of a golf game. But my apologies, everybody. I'm actually heading out at 3 o'clock to the airport to head out to Israel for a family event. And we will be doing actually a large conference call from Israel at least once this week. But anyways, back to duplication. So duplication is the key. If a person is brought into the business, is exposed to the business in a duplicatable fashion, then that person will more than likely be able to copy the way in which they were brought in as they share the business with another person. That concept is very simple when you hear it in a training, on a conference call like this, or you hear it at a live training. It makes a lot of sense. But it's amazing how many of us are unconscious of that when we're bringing someone into the business. We're unconscious of it such that we introduce people in ways that they can't really see themselves copying, or if we do get them into the business, they are unable to copy it. So they try, they basically introduce someone introduce somebody in the same way they were introduced. And in the end, they basically don't duplicate, they don't grow, and of course, people say, why have I sponsored so many people, yet I don't have anybody that is advancing rank, advancing in growth. Now, when we get this concept, our business goes to an entirely new level. Right? One of the hardest things for a brand new person in our business is to, in fact, pick up the phone, call somebody, make contact, and have an effective invitation to get a person to come and take a look. That's one of the hardest concepts. In the beginning, for a brand new person that's never done this before, that has no skill in this type of business. Okay? So, once a person gets past that, so they've practiced, they're now able to introduce another person, they're now able to effectively invite somebody to come take a look. The question is, what are we getting them to take a look at? If we have them look at something that is clear, concise, articulates the message, and something that is very easy to duplicate, well then, obviously, a person is going to very, very quickly introduce another person in the same way that they were introduced. Okay? Why? Because the way in which we brought them in, or the way in which we expose them, is something that they can copy. But once we've done that, we have really started the beginnings of duplication. We've started the process of one person being able to show another. And that's how a large organization has grown. That's how we go from a few people to a few hundred people to a few thousand people. And then, of course, as we move into a few hundred to move into a few thousand, all we're doing is doing that same process, but we're training people on calls like this en masse. We're training people at Super Saturdays. Sorry, folks, just give me one more second. It's hard. I can absolutely assure you, it is hard to concentrate on a golf game and do a call. That's two balls that are gone. Anyways, so once again, the key to growing an organization is being duplicatable. Being duplicatable is using the tools. Tools are duplicatable. People are not. And so those of us who have mastered that concept in terms of utilizing the tools and exposing new people systematically with tools, will always grow a business and duplicate. And then one step further, those who train and teach and coach others to do the same will then develop leaders in their business, develop people who are able to advance their business, grow their business. So the whole key to our business is being teachable enough, being coachable enough, being able to basically copy a few basic fundamental activities, a few basic processes, and show other people to do the same. So long as we're doing that, our organization will grow, our organization will explode, and you'll find that actually the business is really simple. This is not a hard business, it's very simple. So long as we're following the basic protocols, the basic patterns that people respond to in a positive way. Now, on the note of exposing a new person, when I invite a new person to view as an example, let's call it this new presentation video that was posted, the way in which I invite someone to view that video, the way in which I invite someone to watch that presentation, in other words, the perspective from which they're viewing it, the point of view from which they're seeing it, will make all the difference in terms of how they process the information they see and whether they in fact watch it at all. So let me give you an example. So if I were to approach, Debbie, and talk to Debbie about, because I'm a product-centered person and I had, great product results. And so I approached Debbie and from a product standpoint, and I really accentuate all about the product and, all the different validation and the rest of it. And I'm trying to get her into the business, of course. And I asked her to watch this presentation. She's going to view the presentation from that perspective, from a product perspective, from the information I've given her. Or in fact, if Debbie's a business person or an entrepreneur, or is not really that interested or excited about products or nutrition or weight loss or what have you, she may not watch it at all. But if I approach Debbie from a standpoint of, as an example, Debbie, are you keeping your income options open these days? Or Debbie, are you open to possibilities of dramatically increasing cash flow? This type of, the answer is usually a yes. Very few people are going to say no to more security, to more income, to more cash flow. Very few people will say no to that. So as soon as she says yes, then it opens the door to set up the invitation more effectively. Example, I might say something to Debbie like, Debbie, there's something I want you to take a look at, because if you like what you see, I'm going to show you how you can own the West Coast. Let's say Debbie lives in Las Vegas, right, Debbie? So Debbie lives in Las Vegas, or Debbie lives in California. I'm going to show you how to own the West Coast. The company right now is exploding dramatically all over the United States, particularly on the East Coast. The whole California market, the whole West Coast is untouched. So take a look at the information, or click on the link, watch the 12-minute video. If you like what you see, I'll give you more information. I'll point you in the direction that's important for you. So the basic concept is Debbie will likely view that DVD or that presentation from a completely different perspective, with a completely different mindset as a result of how it was presented to her. I'm going to have to watch it. So that doesn't matter anyway. Alright? Okay, I get another meeting. So you're straight down here? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So everything is about the way in which we introduce somebody, how we bring someone to the table, and that's going to set in motion how that person will likely duplicate. Okay, as an example, some people are, and there's nothing wrong. Let me cover this by saying there's nothing wrong at all with being product-centered. In fact, being product-centered is very much the foundation of our entire business. Out of 180,000 plus people in the network, I'd say better than 150,000 are customers, are just product consumers. But that's our business, right? However, to get 150,000 customers, you do need business builders. We can't do it by ourselves. And so to get those business builders, to get people who are set up to duplicate, set up to introduce others, doing the activities that create duplication, doing the activities that develop leadership, to get that audience, or to develop that audience, we must be, in fact, on that same path ourselves. And so, if you started the business from a business perspective, should be noted that even when one is building from a business perspective, as I do, I'm always focused on the product. Okay, so it's kind of like, on the one hand, we're saying don't focus on the product in the invitation. On the other hand, make sure that that's part of the presentation. So what I mean by that is I'm always focused on the product from the standpoint of the fact that it legitimizes the business because there's so many people who can have benefit from the product / the market is so big and expanding and continues to expand that the business becomes much more vivid for a person. They can see it because they can see how these products speak to such a large audience. Now there's a big difference, or a subtle difference between that and getting very technical and very detailed from a product standpoint. Okay, so there's a presentation that's going to take place at the convention during the breakout sessions called Moringa Marketing Money. And it's a presentation that I'll be doing along with some people at the breakout session that will be focused on, do I lead with the business or do I lead with the product? Or how do I lead with either one of them and get the desired result of having a person excited about looking at our business? And so there's a few subtleties, there's a few nuances associated with that. And so long as I'm working within that framework of those nuances, people will be excited. People will most definitely respond in a positive way. They will take a look at the presentation in a way that's going to bring them into the business in a way that they can duplicate, in a way that they can grow, in a way that they can develop into a leader and attract other leaders. Okay, so, this is a skill. So once we've learned how to invite somebody, how to get them to view, well, then all we're really doing is we're refining that process. We're just putting some polish on it. We're getting a little bit better at it so that when we do invite somebody, we invite them in the context that will cause them to duplicate quickly and grow quickly. And so when you see teams or organizations that are advancing quickly, you'll find that the people growing them are very, very focused on systems, very, very focused on duplication, very, very focused on sharing the vision in a way that people see the financial opportunity, they see prosperity for themselves, they see security for themselves. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the key to our business, is understanding how to invite somebody in the context that will cause them to come into the business and effectively introduce another person. That's how we create duplication. And so if you have not yet viewed that new presentation, view it, and make sure that you are listening to the language and the words that are being spoken by all the people giving testimonials: Jude Holland, Bob Budd, Karen Hill, Dr. Fisher, all of the Irene Delata, all of the testimonials, all of the stories that are shared on that presentation are just happen to be right on, spot on, in terms of giving the information in a way that a prospect is getting almost all their questions or anything that would be appealing to them is being addressed in those testimonials, in those presentations. So make sure that when you when you watch that presentation, watch it, but listen to the words carefully, and do your very best to duplicate some of that language in your invitation and in the way in which you move other people to come take a look at Zeta International. Once again, be sure to share it. So push it out on Facebook throughout your organization, and let's see how many people we can get to view this information to help advance the number of exposures, which ultimately will translate into new recruits, new business builders, and ideally in a way in which they will continue to duplicate. With that, everybody, thanks for joining us. Somebody else will obviously be doing the MIT call tonight, as I will be in transit. I wish everybody a successful week. Thanks for your patience this morning on the golf course. Thanks for all that you do. Continued success, everybody. And ladies and gentlemen, the lines are open.
Thanks, David. Thanks, David.
Thanks, David. See you last week.
New York.